Throughout this series, we've looked at all kinds of ways and perspectives of bringing ideas to life. In this final episode of Making Prototypes, we're wrapping things up with Tomas Holek, the designer of SETI. He's here to chat about his creative process and why the hands-on part of making games is so rewarding. Also, Španěl, the brain behind Project L, walks us through some of his super early prototypes, and we talk with Ondra Skoupý, the designer of Jam, about what is actually worth prototyping and the importance of feedback and discussions around games. When you have an idea for a game, what is the first thing you do? Like, do you write it down? Do you try to make some sort of prototype? Do you spend like days thinking about it until you do something, or?
Yeah, it depends on the prototype or on the game.
Yeah.
I try to thinking about the prototype as much as I can. And I have everything in my head, and after a few days, sometimes after a few weeks, I started write down my thoughts about the prototype. And firstly I tried to thinking about almost everything, or about the team, about mechanics.
So at which point do you start making a prototype?
Always is very fast, because first I got some paper, cardboard, and I started to write by hand everything, and I tried the prototype, and I realized okay, I throw it out and I will do something different, or I say, oh, it has potential, and maybe I change something, and then start to process on computer in Photoshop. I use Photoshop for everything. So then I start to draw some iconography and UI and everything, because it's easier after that, because I have, for example, I have all cards, the prices and the effects, and if I change something, I can change some numbers and I can print another version, and it's very easy to and very fast to do updates.
So you have brought here what looks like SETI?
SETI, yeah.
Okay.
Like 6 years old.
Wow.
So I think it's not the very first prototype, but because the very first prototype was on the papers only, cut by hand the cards and components, and every iconography was made by hand. So it was just on the white table, white components. And this was the first prototype, and I played like many times, and after that I did this one. This is the first like prototype in graphic. So the game was very different than
looks like it,
now. But the main mechanics, like this rotating solar system, was there from the beginning, but there was many more like sectors, and there were no shapes in the solar system, because that idea comes later a little bit. But you move your probe around solar system, we can land on the planet and gain publicity and everything, and we can also scan this, observe the nearby star systems. But in these versions there wasn't like the sectors around the solar system, but the sectors were like hexagonal here, and we have two parts of the game. The functionality was almost like in the final prototype, but
looks slightly more chaotic for me.
Yeah, because that was the theme, because this constellations here is just for nothing.
Okay.
The constellations there here is for me, because it was thematic, and I thought in this moment it's cool idea to have the constellation there, but you don't see the hexagons. And in the last version of SETI, this mechanics it's a little bit different, because the sectors are around, and here is like 50 sectors or 36, I don't know the exact number, but now we have 8 sectors.
Yeah.
And the
More
mechanic is
manageable.
yeah, and it's different. So
Yeah.
so it looks like mess here.
Yeah, but I guess that's part of the process. Then it becomes more
definitely.
less of a mess, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely.
Was a Project L your first published game?
Yes, and actually it was also my first game like ever, like board game. I used to make some games, like video games, but Project L was my first ever board game, and I'm very glad that as first board game it got the attention that it got. And so we can start with that. And this was actually the first cards that I did for Project L. And as you can see, they are handmade with love. And as you can see, they are not very nice, but they are just cut up thick paper, and it's written with some pencils and markers. And as you can see on some of these, I iterated a bit. For example, very roughly, I just crossed out a number and wrote a new one. And for example, here several times even. And also, I created these nice pieces. I think they are nice. I think they are cute.
Nice, yeah.
And these are just 4 sheets of thick paper glued together and cut up. And yeah, I think they play. They look cute. But of course, some people say that my prototypes don't look nice. And,
What do they know? I like them.
But I think another thing is that when you have a prototype that doesn't look super nice, polished, then the players, if players enjoy the game even with the bad-looking prototype, then you know that you are
It's
onto
a good
something.
game. Yeah. Before you made this prototype, did you write up some sort of rule sheet or sketch or something, or did you just start with these and then you documented things?
With this, I just dove right in and draw the shapes, and I just played around with it and tried putting pieces and thinking about the rules, about the number of actions in a turn, and maybe also brainstorming some of these different colors and what would they do, and they didn't end up doing anything, and experimenting with the rules. And so this was the first iteration, and I don't believe I actually showed this to anyone else. This was just for me. And then once I was had some stable shapes and rewards and cards, I wrote a script to generate cards that I then print out. So we can see here maybe the cards that I got to, I put them into a script and generated these cards. And as you can see here, is the same card, and more or less it's the same rules put
So this and
into
this.
print data.
Right.
Yeah. And as we can see, it actually ended up on the three points. And yeah, so these were two first iterations of Project L, and then of course once I got in touch with Boardcubator, there were much more advanced prototypes, but it wasn't at that point, it wasn't my job doing the prototypes, so I just wanted to show the beginnings, the humble beginnings, let's say.
Okay, so it worked? The early prototype sort of worked?
Yeah, it was playable, it was fun. It didn't look very nice, and some people said that it doesn't look very nice, but again, even though they thought it didn't look nice, they enjoyed it. So, so
that's what matters, yeah.
Yeah.
When you have an idea for a game, do you have a specific process, a method? Do you start by prototyping right away? What do you usually do?
Well, the first thing I start with is an idea. Like, I need to have an idea for something that like stands out, makes for an experience that's different from what I know as games. Because this is when I start wondering whether this could make for a good game. And sometimes the idea is like a special gadget or special mechanism or a special topic, like something that's people like or something that carries a story behind it. So you wonder whether it will make for a good game if there's going a lot in the story, and if the story brings up some interesting like questions or decisions.
So you just think about it.
Yeah.
Do you put it on paper? What
Well, I usually carry it in my head, and well, most ideas never get beyond this stage. When I sometimes like talk with people because, well, in CG there are a lot of designers, and you can share your ideas and talk about, what if we made a game based on this book, like ideas like this, and we talk about this and share our knowledge about games that are already out that could possibly cover this theme even better, these mechanics. So
When do you make a prototype?
when actually it's quite rare that I make a prototype, because I need to start believing in the idea and in the fact I already have like enough substance for it. So I actually started prototyping about 2 or 3 games. One of them is Letter Jam, and one other prototype got it into the stage where I could like move the bits around the table and try if it works. But I still feel it needs some more ideas. It needs some more substance until it's like until it offers enough to make for a game. The game actually went through several phases. One was like competitive, where you traded cards with other people and you tried to figure out the secret word before they did. And after that I tested it with some other people with CGE at an event organized by CGE. And a strange thing happened, because people started to return to my table and playing it over and over, and that was the moment where I figured out that this was something really worth pushing forward. So I did.
People's feedback was what made you want to continue.
It's always people's feedback, because it always comes down to whether people like the game. And if they do, for me it personally depends if the game brings enough new stuff on the table, so it's worth like releasing it. Because there are so many games out there, and
not all of them are worth releasing, I guess.
And so when I found that people really liked it, and some people started talking about publishing it outright, we went for it, and we did it.
I always enjoy when I can make new prototype.
Okay.
And when I take a razor or scissors and cut something.
It's one of your favorite parts of the process.
Definitely. I like it so much, because like a few years ago, or from my childhood, I did some papercraft stuff. Like model, like I did always like Formula 1 paper cuts. So it's very nearby to me.
You know how to make stuff. Okay.
Probably the most important is this. I thought that everyone knows about this double side sticker, but I realize it's not that common.
Okay.
So use it for everything, and for prototyping it's very good. It's the best thing I have. I think a lot of designers or a lot of people who do like prototype stuff, they put the glue, but the standard glue, and after you put it to some thicker cardboard, starting to be
It's warpy.
warpy.
Yeah.
This one is absolutely best thing, because I put it here, and after that I cut everything with this scalpel, and of course I use this very
Sturdy.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that you have your the materials you like to use and the tools.
I always watch some movie or something, or some document, and then or YouTube or something, and I cut and watch like for last time when I did this stuff for SETI, I watch Paul Grogan to how they play through Shackleton Bass or Daitoshi last time. So 1 hour I watch them and cut something for something for next prototype. And I love it. So
Do you think is it important to have like a pretty prototype? Is it something you think makes sense to do? Because like some people want to, since they play it a lot, they want it to look pretty. Do you think that's important at any stage of the process to make it pretty, or not at all?
I cannot personally make it pretty, and I don't want to, because I want to know if the game itself is good enough, so you can play it. Like you can pass pretty images on pretty much anything. So whether the game is good or not is best resolved on like wireframe prototype that has some you can make some iconography if it's difficult, but you should never try to make it pretty. Also in the development we have a rule that we never make things that are meant as provisional. We don't make them pretty, because if you do, there's a high risk they'll stay that way.
That's true, yeah.
So unfortunately, I don't have the original boards. In Sneferu we are slotting these pieces into boards, and I didn't find the boards, but I have some of these pieces. So I started with, and here actually you can see that on the back there's like some text from I think it was a box of pizza or something like that. I just didn't care.
Whatever you had. Was it like you had the idea while eating pizza or something?
No. I just said let's do it, and I just grabbed some cardboard I had lying around and glued paper to it and cut up these pieces. And you are slotting them like this. And then I decided to go to the 3D printing, where I did these nice tiles. So again, I wish I could show it, but they slotted like nicely into the board.
So wait, these are these, or?
Yeah, so this is like the first version, and then so that was the next version. And I also 3D printed these tokens. So we are playing with the food tokens and the beer tokens. And I think 3D printer is very good tool for prototyping. And these took just maybe a few hours to design and create, and I think they handle it quite nicely.
So before making them, you just had cubes, or you just went right away to using those?
I think I had my 3D printing phase, let's say, where I just printed everything I saw, and I think I actually started with these because I knew I wanted some tokens, and I printed them. here you can see how it came by. And just to show, then you can slot these into here. And actually, let me see. No, these don't fit. But yeah, this is the final result.
Beautiful.
I like or I love do this stuff. So
Yeah.
I very looking forward anytime I have some idea. I looking forward when I will
Get your hands on paper. Yeah.
and got this all this stuff. And because when I have the prototype, it's almost it's not finished, but I say, oh, it's the prototype is finished, and now I need to test it, and I love test it, but the process of making prototype is probably for me the best part of the prototyping.
Yeah. No, I can understand why it's so enjoyable, because you get to do things with your hands, and before the prototype it was just an idea. Now it's like a thing that you can share with people.
Yeah, definitely. This is the Galileo.
Yeah.
This is the third release this year.
Yes.
My third game.
Yeah.
and this is not the final version, but it's the prototype, but the prototype with final graphic design. And you see here some changes.
Yeah.
It's funny because sometimes I bring new version of new prototype and the last version, and we set up the whole game, and we realized, oh, maybe this should be better, so we immediately put sticker on the new, and we play always with something, with some stickers or some something. So I almost never play some finished game,
without any
from any designers, yes, but I mostly play like prototypes. Like 90% of what I play is prototypes.
You mean not only yours but others?
No, not only mine, but from other designers. Yeah. If I can choose, if we will play some new game or some prototype.
Really?
Yes, I always choose the prototype.
Why is that?
Because it's I think I thought about it, how or why, and I realized that when I play the finished game, I can never change nothing.
It's true.
And when I play prototype, I can say, oh, this should be better, and so I always
can
like
influence the game.
For example, Galileo, I never played the final version of Galileo, because when we send it to the printer, I stop because
you might find more things to change.
Yeah. And it's not possible. So I stop. And it's with all the games the same process, because I stop immediately after I finish the game, because I move to another.
You have to eventually have to stop.